right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Jess, and thank you for tuning into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Andrew Fillipponi in a matter of moments over to 93.7 The Fan Cam. And you can give us a call tonight at 412-575-2600. Obviously, we're going to dive into the Buccos, who lost their fourth straight game today. That's 6 out of the last 7. And, Pony, I don't even know what to say now. I mean, I lost Bucco fever after the first game of the season, and now it's just turned into anger. And I don't understand why anyone can watch this and think that they're ever going to solve a problem over there as long as Bob Nutting is the owner. Look at what they have. They're last in the NL in average, RBI, runs, OPS, slugging percentage, and only the Rockies have less hits. I don't get it. I don't get what they're doing. I think everyone should be fired, including the owner.
Well, they tried to build a team that was going to win games with pitching, and they didn't spend any money on hitting, and the guys they've drafted to hit have not hit. Nick Gonzalez got hurt. Henry Davis is now Paul Skeen's personal catcher and barely played. They give K. Brian Hayes a big contract. He can't hit, no power whatsoever, not even making big plays at third base. He had a nice play tonight, but other than that, a guy that's underachieved this year. So you add that up and you get historic futility offensively, where it's now been 24 games where you haven't scored more than 4 runs. This is not Pirates history. This is baseball history. That's not happened to a team since 1971. I don't know where you were in 1971, no. Richie, but I don't even think my dad my dad wasn't even thinking about having me then. He was, I think, 13 years old at the time. So, look, this is, you're right, ridiculously bad, and a lot of people need to take culpability for it. The owner brought back this GM, and their payroll this year is $89 million. In 2015, it was $99 million. How has it gone down $10 million in 10 years? Everything's gotten more expensive in 2025, but apparently not the Pirates roster in a year where they had Paul Skeens making less than $1 million and needed to improve upon the 76 wins in 2024.
And this is the guy you trust to advocate for the Pirates. I mean, that's what he told Jason Mackey about a week ago in that interview. He hasn't done anything. I just don't get it. At what point do fans start believing? Because I know you and I were on this show probably 5, 6, 4 years ago, whatever it was, saying 2025 is the year. That's the year internally they project that they're going to be competitive, compete for a playoff, compete for a wild card. Or
maybe they play once a week, but they should not be mainstays and stalwarts in your lineup, and they are. Andrew McCutchen, I thought, was signed here initially to be like an elder statesman, to be a mentor. Instead, Richie, he might be their best hitter because Brian Reynolds has had an awful year, and O'Neal Cruz is in a slump right now since he's come back from his back injury. So it's just crazy how bad this team is at hitting. 2
guys on the active roster right now. Only 2 guys are batting over 250. They're incredibly bad. I don't even know how you solve it. And you were the first person to put out there. I was on my golf trip, and I saw that you put out there that Ben Cherington is selling his house. And I do not believe what the Pirates said in their statement, that he just wants to move closer to the ballpark. I think he knows the writing is on the wall.
And Ben Cherington did not do his radio show on Sunday. Okay, I want to hear answers from this guy. Now, I'm probably not going to like him. He's probably going to give me a long answer where he says nothing. But he should be talking about his vision for this team and where it's gone south and how it gets better. Okay, the owner's only going to do that about once a year. He did it when the manager got fired. It's incumbent on the general manager after a half a dozen years here to tell us how things are going to get better, to lay out some of his play. You don't have to show us all your work, but give us something that we can believe in as fans. And clearly, he has failed on a number of levels: trades, free agent signings, draft picks. He really is one of the worst general managers, Ben Cherington, in the history of the Pirates.
And this is the guy that Nutting is entrusting to do another draft and go through another trade deadline, which I don't understand, because that can actually form the future of this team potentially. I don't get it. And I don't like the fact that he said, hey, we had some bad luck. I was at that press conference. And what? If you have, he said this like 3 times. If you have to squint, you'll see a good team, right? Something like that. I'm squinting. No. I don't see anything. I don't see anything right now. Except
He
for
must
a
be
phone
Mr.
call.
Magoo. Go get those glasses checked, Ben Sherrington, because I'm not seeing anything, and neither are you.
All right, 412-575-2600 is the number. Coming back in 2 minutes with your phone calls. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night from Cal Porter. Scotty Scheffler's last 4 seasons. Look at this, 82 starts, 45 top fives, 18 wins, 3 majors, 2 players, 1 gold medal, 4 missed cuts, $75 million in official PGA Tour money, 141 weeks at world #1. Not many golfers have a resume like that. Maybe only 2, Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. I would put in that category. I think he's the clear-cut favorite for the U.S. Open, which leads us to our live poll question tonight, sponsored by Xfinity. You just scan that QR code in the bottom right hand of your screen and vote. Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, or the field. Who will win the U.S. Open? My money is on Scheffler, and it looks like our viewers are too.
Well, I'm going to disagree with that. It's very hard to win back-to-back majors, and he is a great driver and irons player. His putting is where he comes up short, and I'm nervous with those greens at Oakmont, those notoriously fast greens where they invented the stemp meter and all that business. I don't see him conquering those greens, Richie. I mean, Dustin Johnson won it that way, and he was phenomenal 9 years ago, and he's basically fallen off the face of the earth. He is just a non-factor at these big tournaments now, so I would not expect him to be in contention at Oakmont in a month.
Yeah, Rory has a chance. I mean, like you said, it's hard to win back-to-back majors. Ton of pressure. But I'm excited about what's coming up here in about 3 weeks in Oakmont. All right, let's go to our call of the night, which is Lou from Baldwin. How you doing, Lou?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good, thanks for calling.
Yeah, my question is, what would be an incentive for Nutting to spend more money? To increase profit, would it be increased attendance?
How about pride? How about wanting a winner? How about appeasing your fans? I mean, you are doing a massive disservice to this city right now, what's going on over there. Baseball needs to fix itself, Pony, and I'm sure you agree. There's going to be a work stoppage in 27. They need a salary cap and a salary floor. They have to get that.
Yeah, the salary cap and salary floor need to be close together, though, because if they're not, then I don't really see things changing that much. He'd have to make more money. The team would have to make more money, I think, for him to spend more. And he spent more in the years where they made the playoffs, more than they're spending now. Their television deal isn't as good. So I think it's an uphill battle. I really do. I think that's why a Paul Skeens extension seems very far-fetched. If I'm Paul Skeens, I wouldn't even really want to negotiate with the Pirates right now. Why would you want to extend your stay in Pittsburgh after what you've watched through the first year of your major league career? So I hate to say this, but I think things are pretty bleak right now, and we'll see if things turn around maybe once Bubba Chandler gets here. But he's a pitcher, not a hitter.
Yeah.
And then we got the Jared Jones issue now too, where he might miss a year plus because of elbow surgery.
Let's go out to Brian in Castle Shannon. How you doing, Brian?
Pretty good. How are you gentlemen this evening?
Good, thanks for calling.
Okay, with this, the Pirates are no longer scaring anybody, so they really don't deserve the name Pirates. But why don't we consider a couple of other options, like the Limbo, or maybe the Skunks? And then in addition to that, why don't we have a rally song saying, "Nutting from nutting leaves nutting"?
All right, maybe you could send all those opinions to the Pirates. What would you do to turn this around, Pony? I mean, what can you do? I know you got to spend more money at this point, but what if guys don't want to come here? You have to overpay for free agents.
Sure. I think you got to go out and pluck someone away from an organization that's shown that they can cultivate talent and not spend a lot of money on them and build through the draft. And so if I were the owner of the team, I would be looking at teams that are in the same kind of boat from a market size standpoint, whether that's Cleveland, Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, and I would try to find their guy in waiting. Who's the guy on those, in those organizations that the team would be upset to lose because they value that guy so much? And then I would make that person the GM. and I would see if he can give people that he worked with there underneath him opportunities, better opportunities here, promotions here. And that's how I would do it. I mean, it would probably be a young guy. I mean, they went the route with Cherington of getting the established GM, but he did it in Boston, where you've got pretty much an unlimited payroll. And outside of 1 year, and I know he won the World Series, he finished in last place the rest of the time. So you went the established route. I would go the young route with the GM, but I would go the veteran route with a manager.
Yeah.
I think it would help if a young roster or a roster of guys who haven't won, if there was somebody in that chair who had been there, done that, like Clint Hurdle. So that's how I would strike that balance between the two things, Richie.
You know, are we staring at another rebuild, another 5-year plan, or do you think they're closer than their record appears?
No, I think it's possible. I mean, you'd like to think more like 3 or 4, but I don't think they're very close. They got no good young hitters. And so that's got to be remedied, whether that's in trade or whether that's strictly through the draft. I mean, you know, the reality is they're not going to go out and give huge contracts to outside free agents. So that's got to mostly be done through the draft, in my opinion, or trades. And I want to make sure the right person's calling those shots. Ben Cherington is not. And to give him the draft and the trade deadline, I think, is just asinine to trust him to execute those two big events properly.
Let's go out, Matt Butler. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, guys. I think the moral of the story here is the owner does not care. He just looks at this as a money-only business. He doesn't care whether he wins or loses. He doesn't care how embarrassed it is for the city, or he doesn't care about the fans, because they do keep going to the games, and that's the way he's going to keep managing it.
Well, there wasn't a lot of fans there, and I think it's obvious it doesn't bother him. He walks right through the stands on opening day, and there's planes flying over that says "Sell the team, Bob," and it doesn't look like it affects him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would have a hard time believing, if I'm one of 30 people that are involved in a game, Major League Baseball, that some kind of competitive juice would kick in and I'd try to win. But I think it's all within reason. You know, I think Bob Nutting wants to win, but I think it's within his parameters. I think it's within his guidelines. He's not going to go outside of his comfort zone, Richie, to make that happen. So that's the issue. You know, he doesn't want to, and this is just my opinion, no one's really told me this. Yeah. I don't think he wants to extend himself financially and say, well, if I make this move, maybe we'll win and bring more fans in. I think he wants to see the fans come first. He wants to build a winner, I think, shrewdly through the draft and trades. And then maybe once the fans start showing up to that, he'll reinvest free agent dollars into the team. That's just my feeling on it. I think that has to happen first before he just goes out and makes a big move and a big splash and hopes that that's what reignites the fan base and keeps his fingers crossed that people show up and he makes money off of it.
I don't think his guidelines are working, and I think apathy is setting in right now. Let's go out to Brad in Brookline. How you doing, Brad?
Hey, guys. What's going on? Just two quick points. How about Jason Mackey predicting 85 wins before the season on this team?
I know, the 85 win club. It's a very lonely place right now.
Insane and ridiculous, but what was he thinking? But how can you possibly have Cherington run this up-and-coming draft?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, first of all, they'll be lucky to get to 55. But you don't see a lot of Major League Baseball GMs get fired this time of the year because of the draft and trade deadline. But, you know, what do the Pirates got to lose? They're already one of the worst teams in the majors.
You know, I agree with you. Like I said before, there's probably somebody out there in a major league organization who you could hire to be your GM and find somebody who's an assistant scouting director who's been covering the draft and getting ready for the draft all year, and have that guy call the shots for you. And people might think, well, that's kind of, a shot in the dark or a risk, but I think the bigger risk is trusting this guy, Ben Cherington, to execute the draft correctly for you. Yeah,
they need it. And plus, I think they need a baseball guy as the team president as well. Travis Williams is an NHL guy, so I don't know what they're going to do. I guess we're going to find out this offseason. We got to go to break. Back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports. I'm Rich Walsh. Now it's time to turn things over to Ken Rice to find out what's coming up on KDKA News at 11. Ken?
Rich, tonight charges filed in the death of a young woman in Rostraver. What we're learning about the suspect from the woman he called Mom. Plus, we're breaking down the biggest race in tomorrow's primary election, the Democratic race for Pittsburgh mayor. And Kristen Emery is tracking a wet week ahead of the holiday weekend, all coming up right here at 11, Rich.
All right, see you in a couple minutes, Ken. We don't have a lot of time here, Pony. Switching gears a little bit to the Steelers in this Aaron Rodgers saga. Do you think at all that he signs this week? I know a couple national guys are saying that, including his biographer, Ian O'Connor.
No, I got to see it to believe it. And that video that went out of him with the squirt gun, was that really him or was that AI? I could not tell. And
I get
tricked online now all the time.
I know. I don't know if I guess he was at a concert. He is wearing a wedding ring. I don't know. I don't think he's going to sign. My two dates are right before minicamp or right before training camp, and I think it's going to be in July. All right, Pony, thanks a lot.
Richie.
See you tomorrow.
See you soon.
And hopefully we see you guys on KDKA News in just a couple minutes.